Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and boy have I got an amazing video lined up for you today. In today's video we're going to have a look at some stats that a lot of people aren't talking about when it comes to Cardano ADA, and one really big reason why Charles could be correct about his thoughts on Ethereum and the fact that Cardano ADA could eventually flip the Ethereum blockchain. If you enjoy this sort of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Let's waste no time. Let's get to it. Let's go. So I want to start here and I want to talk about some of the stats, right? Cardano ADA poised for 7th straight gain near $1 amid whale accumulation, community elected committee, and much more. So I want to dig into this. The first point to be made here is a 7-day win streak for Cardano ADA is posting its longest daily gains run this year, closing in on the $1 milestone when it comes to Cardano ADA's price. Whale accumulation and softer CPI print boosts buying interest and daily volume. And then the third is on-chain metrics. 113.68 million transactions this week and 320 GitHub commits, market cap at $33.84 billion, does lead me to be very bullish on Cardano ADA. If you're bullish, if I can get my words out, on Cardano ADA, let me know in the comments below. I always like to start with the market data, but I really wanted to just give you some of the details, some of the stats that I've got lined up, because there's much more in this video that we need to delve into, and I need to bring to people's attention, right? So the total market cap of crypto globally is at $4.07 trillion. Now, I've mentioned this a few times. My expectations is for us to reach $10 trillion come the peak of the bull run. If that's not this year, it will be next year. At least that's what I'm forecasting. I'm expecting a Fed pivot this month in, 3 days' time. I'm expecting that to be announced. What I would say is this is something we've been forecasting for months upon months, and we've been very, very clear on what our expectations are, and we're super excited to see what actually unfolds, right? Nothing's guaranteed in crypto. I'm not a financial advisor. I treat this purely as entertainment purposes only. Always do your research. Never invest more than you're willing to lose, because you do risk losing it all, when you invest in crypto. So take all the price predictions and all that sort of stuff with a pinch of salt. You've got to do your own research before making any investment decisions. I will not be held liable for anything that happens in crypto, right? This is just my thoughts, my opinions, nothing more, nothing less. So Bitcoin 115,876.74, down 0.08% in the past 24 hours. Fear and greed index is neutral at 52. Altcoin season, we're at 69. That's pretty high. And Cardano 90 cent 440, down 4.52%, but up 8.65% in the last 7 days. And I want to dig into some of the stuff that doesn't get talked about that often, right? I want to delve into the stuff that might seem boring at the face of it or at face value, but is very, very important and will be recognized over time, right? And Cardano marks 8 years of uptime, second only to Bitcoin. What's next for the network? And that is a pretty strong title if I've ever seen one. And this is, again, just really, really interesting and very important, right? You can talk about Ethereum, you can talk about Solana, you can talk about other blockchains, but Cardano has a solid, history when it comes to uptime alongside Bitcoin. So again, just really, really interesting. It marks, the 8th anniversary since it launched at the end of September 2017. So yeah, a really, really cool point to raise. And again, when you kind of consider this alongside the other information that I gave right at the start of this video, it does position Cardano in a very unique position and a strong position at that. So I am expecting really positive things when it comes to Cardano ADA, not just price prediction wise. I'm talking about, you know, actually being used in the real world, utility, the stuff that is actually going to be very, very important, right? There's lots of projects out there, right? And this needs to be aired, right? And I'm not going to go into naming and shaming, but there's a lot of projects that, you know, on the face of it seem very legitimate right now. And I'm going to tell you, right? I'm not going to tell you who it is, but, you know, if it comes to, you know, fruition, I will tell you to come back to this video on the 14th of September 2025, and I will say that was the project that I was talking about, right? Very prominent, big real world utility projects, and there's some very big question marks over it, right? Like for me, lots of question marks, right? If you scratch beneath the surface, is it real? That's the question. And, you know, from a technical standpoint, you can't really actually see it right now. And this is, you know, why I raise this as something that is quite important. I would encourage people where things aren't transparent when it comes to blockchain projects, claiming they've got loads of real world utility, to, you know, ask why they're choosing to go down paths where it's not transparent enough. Like, I'm just going to put it out there. Like, it's just my views, it's just my opinions, and I will let you know whether I'm right or whether I was wrong, and time will tell. Ethereum validator slashing puts Cardano's resilience in focus. And this, for me, could be the big, you know, point, the big reason why Cardano eventually flips Ethereum. Now, there is talk out there that Ethereum might, could, will flip Bitcoin. Now, what I'm going to say is I'm going to make another really big claim in today's video. I'm going to be full of big claims and, you know, alpha for you all. I think that several altcoins in time will flip Bitcoin. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is going to really crush a few people's egos out there. You know, there are some very big Bitcoin maxis, but look, where I'm coming from, and people can debate this with me, you know, it's fine. And again, people's views and opinions completely welcome. You know, I'm not saying that it's, you know, I'm right, you're wrong. Let's open some dialogue. Join us in the free educational Discord. But the stuff that I'm really talking about here is, once everything is on chain, and I mean everything, all the money, all of the assets, everything's on chain, right? And I do think that that is the world we're heading in, right? We're going to have digital IDs, we're going to have stable coins, digital dollars, digital pounds, euros, all that sort of stuff, right? It's all going to be on chain, in my humble opinion. We're waiting for that privacy layer, that's, you know, compliant privacy layer, which can mask and unmask. It's basically midnight, right? Like, this is what we are waiting for. Not to say that midnight is going to be that winner. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it is a requirement. It's a layer of requirement if you want to bring in real world, you know, tokenization, businesses, you know, banks, all that sort of stuff, healthcare. If you want to bring that on chain, you need that compliant privacy layer. So once this is installed, like, utility is going to be on several different projects, right? And I'll come on to 99% of projects will fail. I've seen a lot of comments on this, and I did a members write-up on this, and I just want to let people understand what that actually means, right? Because this, again, stick with me, because there's some serious alpha in this video. So what I'm saying is, once all that utility comes on chain, right, we're talking about banks, we're talking about businesses, we're talking about healthcare, like the NHS in the UK, for example, the efficiencies that could be made, the money that could be saved, right, the people's lives that could be improved, saved, and so on, right? This is all real positive stuff, but it's not going to be on Bitcoin. Like, I want to be clear, it's not going to be necessarily all, if at all, on Bitcoin. It's going to be on fast, scalable, 100% uptime layer 1 projects, or potentially layer 2, right? Like, that's where, or layer 0, you know, that's where it's going to be. It's where it's going to be sat, in my opinion. Unless there's some new breakthrough in blockchain technology, that is where it's going to sit. And when it sits there and all the money is on blockchain, it's going to be in altcoins, like I say, on like layer 1s, layer 2s, layer 0s. Once it's on those ones that, you know, it's on will inevitably, I can't even get my words out, inevitably flip Bitcoin. That's my thoughts and opinions. Now, I want to talk about that 99% of all altcoins will crash and go to zero, right? Because we see this comment a lot, right? There are over 37 million altcoins, and this is real alpha for you. So if 99% of those went away, disappeared, crashed, burnt, right? That leaves over 370,000 altcoins. So is it really something that's unrealistic? Like 99%, you know, it's a great, you know, clickbaity title. But what it's really telling you is there's going to be many winners. At least that's my thoughts, my opinions. You can let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. To be honest, it's probably more like 99.8% of altcoins will crash and burn. It will be the real utility projects that, you know, stay alive and are utilized, and some of those will, you know, flip Bitcoin. It's inevitable, in my opinion. Just my opinion, nothing guaranteed in crypto. Just so we're clear, I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research, see whether what I'm saying resonates with you or not. Cardano ADA price prediction, according to this article, why Cardano could hit $10 this cycle and why its rival may return 20,000%, which obviously indicates that this is a paid for article for this shitcoin here, right? But Cardano is starting to look pretty decent as a crypto investment, according to this article, going by how bullish ADA price predictions are. But at the same time, they've got this nonsense coin, right? But the reasons why Cardano may hit $10, according to this article, is due to a spot ETF approval as it draws closer. Again, that's one reason. There's many reasons that we've discussed why it could do phenomenally well. Not necessarily $10. I don't think it's going there. That's my personal opinion. You can have yours. I have mine. Give me your price predictions in the comments down below. But for me, like $7 is absolute peak. It needs blue sky, like a road, a straight road with no bumps in it, no like, you know, barriers, nothing. And you just drive down that road and everything's perfect, right? That's not reality. That's not the real world. That's not what's probably likely to happen, right? Just so we're clear on my thoughts and opinions, right? So look, I want to be very crystal clear with everybody. Spot ETF, I think if it doesn't happen, you know, soon, it's still inevitable. I think it will happen eventually, just my opinion. Scalability, you know, the scaling solution, really big deal, gonna really make a big difference. The bridge to Bitcoin, DeFi from Bitcoin, all that $2.3 trillion worth of Bitcoin liquidity into the Cardano ecosystem, perfect. And then you've got obviously all the uptime, you've got all the problems with other chains, right? I don't know if I really touched that much on the slashing aspect of things when it came to Ethereum, right? So just to give you some context to this, on September the 10th, a slashing of 11.7 ETH from 39 Ethereum validators happened, right? I guess they did something that they shouldn't have done, right? And they got slashed. So they basically lost 11.7 ETH. Right? Now you need 32 ETH to operate a validator node. So they lost approximately $52,000 worth of their Ethereum, right? Because of whatever error happened, right? That doesn't happen in Cardano staking, right? So, you know, just give you the secret sauce here. Like, people are probably not very happy, right? Those validators are probably not very happy. So again, just really, really interesting. But you know, price predictions, everybody's got them, everybody's got opinions. It doesn't mean that they're right, and ultimately take everything with a pinch of salt. They're just examples, right? So we've got Cardano Eyes major breakout, $1.30 target within reach now. So we're pretty close, and it's not too far away. And then you've got articles saying top altcoins to invest in 2025. According to ChatGPT, one of those is Cardano. And I've got to say, I do agree with it. I do think that even now at today's price, I believe that it's still undervalued. I know that there are people that bought it at higher prices. I do think we're going to see a new all-time high. I'm not so sure it's going to be $10, but $7, you know, is the absolute pinnacle that I think that we could ever see Cardano going to in this bull run. If it goes higher, well, I'm going to be a happy chappy. But what I would say is, even if it reached, you know, $5, I would still be over the moon. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next video.